This Polycrub is going to be approximately 4.2 meters wide and about 7.2 meters long, which is about the maximum I can easily get out of one 50-meter roll of the plastic water pipe I'm going to use for the hoops to make it. We'll take a look at that in a minute. A 50-meter roll of 63mm black water pipe, which I collected yesterday. This will be used to make the hoops, which will be approximately 6.5–7 meters long. So I'll get 7 complete hoops out of a roll. Well, after what seems like an eternity, I've got back to the job. We've had a lot of rain, 2 major storms. We lost electricity for 5 days. And it's just dried up enough for me to start getting the scaffolding poles in, which are concreted in the bottom of these holes. I got the levels with a water level, which you might be able to see. The water level is just a tube full of water, and if you secure one end and have another person at the other end, you just lift it up and down until you've got the level. So the tops of the posts have been leveled with that, and then measured them across and got them all squared up using a bit of trigonometry, and put a line down for the holes. Obviously it's very important to get this bit absolutely spot on, absolutely square. Before you start, you might want to decide how big your Polycrub is going to be, your polytunnel. In my case, I wanted it about 7 meters long and about 4 meters wide, as sheets of polycarbonate are about 1 meter wide, 1050 millimeters in my case, which is about the maximum you can handle, I believe, because you've got to lean over to screw them. I thought I'd maximize it for 7 sheets, and as a roll of the water pipe is 50 meters long and each hoop will be just over about 6.5 meters, you'll get about 7 from a roll. So I drew a rough plan here on the computer. You can do it on the back of an envelope, on a bit of paper. Just use a pen, mark out the size you want. Here's the first post I've put in. Put some concrete around it a couple of days ago. Let it go off. It's plumb, and it's the finished height at the highest point. All the other tubes will be levelled off this. Eventually there'll be a concrete footing stroke retaining wall that will form the back of some of the raised beds inside. The soil in front of this one in front here is going to have to be levelled away a bit, but we'll do that once we've got everything levelled. So that's the first post in. Once that's gone off, put the second one in. The posts are concreted in the bottom, and if you're on flat ground, that's all you need to do. Because this is sloping, I'm going to be building some concrete retaining walls as well. But this gives you an idea of how I've gone about the job. The main thing is getting it all square. And again, you can see how the land falls away on the other side. So this has got to be corrected with my retaining walls. Another shot of the scaffolding tubes, all in place, concreted in the base. We did that today. They'll be going off now. And that'll be the basis of our foundation. Well, here we are again. It's the end of January 2025. The weather's been awful, too wet to do anything most of the time. Rained again last night, as you can see. I've just started putting in the formwork to make the outside walls, and we've got some reinforcing mesh in the bottom, and then the shuttering is going around the sides, and this will form both the retaining walls and the back of the beds inside. So this should give you more idea of how it's going to be. The hoops are going to go onto these posts in here, but they're actually going to slot into the concrete here on this higher level. You'll see what I mean as I get onto this later, but hopefully this gives you an idea for now. Here's the formwork with the reinforcing steel in the bottom, ready for the concrete. It's been very wet, so there's mud everywhere. Bit of a nightmare. And here it is from another angle. This will be filled with concrete, and you can see the steel posts there.
Rock and roll.
Yep, it's time to get on the shovel and mix some concrete. Old man and a spade. I started off with quite a dry mix for the bottoms of the formwork. Luckily I've got my trusty little tractor and transport box to help me move it all around. There's a fair bit to get in there. And off we go, first load of concrete. I had this little Alpine tractor for about 12 years, really useful. And this 70-year-old guy starts filling them with concrete. Keeps me fit, keeps me going, and I think it just shows what you can do at any age if you really want to. And here we are, one side of the concrete in, gone off, and the other side is the formwork there waiting for the rest of the concrete. And here's some ducting through the formwork to allow the water pipe in. You can see the steel work there in the concrete, and where the concrete will finish below the scaffolding tubes. Started putting the hoops up, the 7-metre hoops, and started putting the purlins on. And after that I started putting the polycarbonate on. I started in the middle, don't know if that's correct or not, but I work from the middle outwards either way. Here you can see some of the ventilation gaps in the purlins. You can also see my tensioners and steel wire that I put in to give it a bit more cross stability. The arrows there show you where the ventilation holes are in the purlins. I didn't think you could have too much ventilation in a polytunnel. Here you can see the polycarbonate, and you can see my posts that I've put in halfway down to give it a bit more stability. These are where the beds are, so they're not going to be in the way of anything. And here's some more ventilation ducting, bringing airflow through under the beds into the centre of the polytunnel. I think this is quite a novel idea. Started the construction of the raised beds. The posts are concreted in. It is 40mm thick larch wood that I'm using. Well, the Polycrub's finished. It's the end of April. We got there for the spring sowing. Everything's pretty much done. Bit of paving left to do here. Just waiting on the pages to come. But let's take a look inside. Centre bed will be mostly for tomatoes. Got a few basil plants in there at the moment. Each bed has a watering system, drip tube, so they can be timed once we get into the warm weather and needs a lot of regular water. Now you can see the step up to the existing greenhouse. I put stable doors either end so we can just open half of the door or the full door depending on how much ventilation we need. Here's the door at the other end with the step down from the existing greenhouse. There is a drain down each side to take any water away to stop the water from the polycarbonate getting the rest of the garden too wet. And here's the finished item. Just a bit of paving to do around the outside. That's it.